All right, on episode 1 of Brand Matters, we have the lovely, my friend, Big T on the Concept, owner of Cloudy Concepts Productions. Give a round of applause for her real quick.
Thank you,
How you
thank you,
feeling today?
thank you. Feeling good, I'm feeling great. We here, episode 1, guest 1. Couldn't be more of an honor. Honestly, I think you were the first guest on my podcast, or one of the first guests,
See,
so,
that's fire.
you know,
That's fire.
look at us. And we did it in the same room, so look,
Exactly.
couldn't be more happier to be
Full
here.
circle.
Yes, thank you.
Exactly. So, let's just talk about the real reason that we're here, Cloudy Concepts. So,
Yes.
you've been doing Cloudy Concepts for how many years now?
5 years now.
5, yo, honestly, 5 years goes by like nothing. Because I remember when you started it. I remember when you told me you got the spot. all of
Literally.
that. So that's crazy. Just in terms of Cloudy Concepts as a whole, like, where did that even come from?
Well, I went to IUP. When I originally went there, my major was like athletic training and shit, but that didn't work out. So I had to switch my major, and then I came across communications media, and I figured I would be good at that because everything that it entitled, as far as like being able to be in production and all that, I felt like I would be good in. But then when I got to my sophomore year, I wasn't able to pay the rest of my tuition, so I ended up just leaving. And when I came back home, I was like low key depressed because I always betted on like school being an opportunity to like change, never, get out of Harrisburg, change your trajectory. So when that didn't go as the plan, I was just like, yo, fuck, like I was only good at school, like I don't really know what else to do. Of course, I got a job and everything, but it just really was just like the goal was to get some money to pay to go back to school. But one, I was irresponsible with whatever money I did make because I didn't pay the debt. Like, of course, you're like 18, 19, 20. Like, back then, I was like, yeah, I had a lot of pressure on myself, but was in nowhere near position to solve the problem that I had. So then, like, I had got a job at FIA and I was working there. It was cool, finally had like some consistent type of work. And one day, my bro Taj had texted me, like, I had just walked out on my 15-minute break, and he asked me if I was doing everything I could do to like achieve my dreams, or just change my whole predicament. And I was like, no, I'm not. And like, I'm not the type of person who can like, one, I'm gonna be honest about it, but I can't accept like, yeah, like I can say no, but now I got to change that because that's just not me. So I had already had like Cloudy Concepts in my notes because, like I said, once I left school, I kind of had little things to help the journey going, but it wasn't until I had that conversation that I was just like, I can just bet on myself. Like, I don't really need to go to school. Everything that they're going to teach me, I can teach myself. Like, I know how to research. I know how to like educate myself. So that's what the fuck I'm about to do. I didn't know the pandemic was about to happen because that was in 2019, and just a couple months later, that's when the whole world shut down. And I was like mad because I'm like, fuck, I just had to do all this research. I mean, talk about watching YouTube, learning about bit rates, type of potential entry laptops, entry level cameras to get. And I had a budget. I needed $1,200 to get the laptop and the camera that I wanted. But I'm like, all right, saving $1,200. Like, I was making money, but it wasn't enough to just go out and buy some $1,200 at that moment. That first stimulus check come, what is that? $1,200 fucking dollars. Look at the Lord. Won't he make a way? So as soon as that check hit my account, I went to make that purchase, and like it was in there and gone in like literally probably 30 minutes. And ever since I got that shit, it just been nonstop with pushing the brand. Of course, there was like little minor steps in between as far as like establishing a logo, which I always think is a funny story that I never really indulged in because that would be one thing that's like a word of advice. I kind of rushed that process. I was so hyped to like get the logo, I wanted to make this announcement that like I settled for a logo that was never really intentionally my idea. When I look at it now, I'm like, yeah, girl, you probably should have just waited a little bit. Like, it's cool that I had that, but the logo that we have now is not the logo that we started with. So if you've been around since like the inception of the brand, and like we was on some whole lime green, and like it wasn't really like fitting what we're doing now.
I think the logo that you guys have now, that brings in another question, which is like, how did you come up with that newer revised logo? Like, what inspired that? What were you aiming for? Like, what I'm really getting at is what emotions were you trying to get out of people? Because I think that's what a lot of people don't realize when you're crafting a brand, everything is intentional. So like you're doing it kind of out of creativity, but also because you know that if you want somebody to look at it, it has to like make them feel a certain way. So what were your thoughts in that area?
Well, the whole Cloudy Concepts itself, like the name, it's a play on my ability to daydream. Honestly, like I'm really like a vivid. I don't even want to call it daydream. I call it like manifestation, aspirational thinking type shit. Cause like I might be quiet, but I'm in my head like strategizing, I'm planning, I'm thinking about things, and I was trying to come up with 1,000,001 ways to be creative and say that. I'm like, all right, well, cloud, all right, that's kind of like, in the clouds thinking concepts. That means thinking. You're literally you're thinking of different things. Shit, that's the brand, Cloudy Concepts. Boom, all right, boom. And then there was a big debate on if I should have productions a part of it or if it should just be Cloudy Concepts. Or where it's like, well, how we gonna know what it means if it ain't got productions? I'm like, all right, well, that's a good point. And then I'm like, well, then I got to think about having an LLC on it. So I got to say this long ass name, Cloudy Concept Productions LLC. All right, fuck it. That's what we going to go with. We registering that doing. So I had to pay, your initiation fees to actually register with the state to get as an LLC, which is important. And I suggest for everybody to do because it just sets up that level of protection. So back to like the question kind of though, the logo itself kind of is easy. Like it was like self-explanatory. Like it's a cloud. Like, and I work with cameras, bro. I need a camera that look like a cloud. And I always thought like when I get to the level where I can get a chain, I feel like that joint would be hard. So I always wanted my logo to be something like I put that ice that joint down, bust it down, and I had to outsource it because I was trying so hard to do this myself. This is another thing. Like I learned outsourcing is not a bad thing. Like I drove myself crazy in the first couple of years thinking that I had to be proficient in everything. Like, and I reached out to a guy that I got recommended and he killed that joint. Like, and what's funny about it is the logo that I have now is still kind of dumbed down from what I was really trying to do because at first I wanted to have like a brain and like out of the brain a thought bubble was coming that turned into a cloud and I was like, all right, I'm gonna really get that. And then after a while, once he gave me back that logo with just the cloud and all, I'm like, oh, that other shit's irrelevant. Like that was just doing too much. This is the logo.
The
like
thing is the thing, right?
I was like, dang, all this time wasting trying to explain to him what I want and boom. I could have done X'd all that out. So, but that's the new logo. When I got the first one, it was kind of still the same process. I was trying to explain that I wanted a camera that was made of a cloud, but the first person, I don't even remember who I went to, honestly. Or maybe I didn't. No, I went to somebody for that. They did it, but it wasn't what I have now. So that's why I had to go back and rebrand, which was very important because I always knew like the logo was never going to stay that. I just had to get to a point where I can find somebody to execute it because I couldn't do it myself.
So that's a question that I was going to have too, if you ever had a rebrand. So technically you have had a rebrand, not a full rebrand, but a logo rebrand.
A logo rebrand,
How did you feel like that affected your company as a whole, the logo rebrand?
I think it made it better because honestly, the reception that I got when I first dropped my first logo, people liked it, of course, because I was announcing the business. But when I dropped the rebrand, I had people like that. Of course, you got social media friends, but I had like random people that are like my friends. Like, oh, I don't even really talk to you, dropping fire comments. Like, I'm like, all right, I'm on to something. Like, and it's simple. It's black and white. Like, boom. Right. But it's like stands out.
You do merch with it. You do all sort of social media floods. I see the cloud everywhere. So I feel like that was a major shift. Like, I think the best thing for you was that it made you confident. Now you had a logo that you felt like you could post it anywhere and you felt like somebody would see it.
It's reputable. Like, yeah, it's like, okay, yeah, that's like actual brand. And that's another thing that kind of with the logo, I kind of still go back and forth with myself, is I didn't know if I wanted to like make the logo like animated. I didn't know if I wanted to have a drop that comes on. I really kind of set on this like that flash, like you got to see it at the beginning, you got to see it at the end, and depending on the production, it might be in the corner. But I'm like, that's satisfying enough for me. Like, as soon as that drawing come on, I want you to know that's Cloudy Concepts Production. Everything you about to see after that, fire. When you about to get to the end, remind you were just seeing the Cloudy Concepts Production.
So also, I think people forget that another part of branding is the services that you offer.
True.
So for people that might not know, like, what are some of the services that you offer, and how did you come to the decision of deciding you were going to offer those services to try and make yourself different within the market?
Well, this goes back into the inception and the initial plan. And I always knew I was going to be a multifaceted business because I never like to be limited into one lane, and it never made sense to limit myself to one thing when there's a billion examples of businesses that are able to stay afloat or like build because they are kind of in every sector that makes sense to what they do. It's like it's the umbrella corporation, but we got a bunch of little hubs underneath that filter back up to the top. So, of course, when I got the camera, my focus is more so video. That's what I like to do, and then photography came into play because I got a camera and people were trying to pay me to take pictures, and we need to make some money. So now I need to like kind of get proficient in that. So that became a thing, and then I'm like, well, I'm swaggy. People like to say I dress well. I might as well start trying to figure out how to have some merch in there because that's like an easy sell. And at the same time, for people who might not need a photo, who might not need a video, how else can they support me? Just put a shirt on, bro. It ain't a crazy price. And then I also offered a studio, which that just came out of nowhere because I was looking for a space, but I wasn't looking for a space as big as I got. I was just looking for something where I can kind of continue to work out of, separate my home from work life. And I found the studio on Craigslist, like, because I was looking through all the official, other listings. And I just went on Craigslist and turned out to be the best decision I ever made because I went over to Mechanicsburg, checked the space out, and it's like that's a perfect example of when you're trying to plan for something and you think like, oh, I need to be on this scale, and then God showed you, no, this is where you need to be thinking. And I'm not the type of person who goes to an occasion and don't meet it. Like when I seen that space, I didn't get intimidated. If anything, I got excited and inspired because now I'm like, oh, I can work with this. Well, we about to see what we can do. Like there's no need to like be like, oh, this is too much, because the price point was still what I was trying to pay. It was cheaper actually, and I was getting 4 times the space of what these other places was offering. I would have been a dummy to pass that up. Only thing that discouraged me initially was that it was in Mechanicsburg because my business, most of it was in Harrisburg. But then ever since being over there now, I realized I had the wrong mindset because it just opened me up to a whole new base of clientele. In addition to, I'm still closer to, I'm in the middle between 717 pretty much. I got Harrisburg over here, York and them down here. Boom. So the business just really became multifaceted off of planning, but because strategically things just kept happening, it's like, well, it only makes sense for me to add this in. And when you do video and stuff, I don't feel like if you limit yourself, like, well, I don't know. For me personally, just doing like a music video, I can do that. But I was like, but there's commercials out here. There's like people need event work. There's so many ways I can make money with this camera. I got to get out here and figure out how to do it all because
Exactly.
another thing that you take into account when starting a business is who's your competition in this sense. Like who else is doing what I do, and not that it's your competition, but I'm going to be competing with. Like there's a Walmart and there's a Target. Like how I'm going to get in the game. So when I take that into consideration, I had to be like, all right, well, if somebody's already proficient in this area, and I never came in with the thought of trying to like step on somebody's toes, take over the industry, I got to be the best. I came in with, how can I get in where I fit and where's my niche at? Where's my money going to be at? And turns out mine just happened to be proficient in a lot of areas rather than just honing in on one. So I feel like that's what helped me also continue to prevail because I started doing things that necessarily wasn't being offered as far as giving interview content with my podcast. And people have podcasts, but my podcast isn't even about me. It's about the artist. It's about the person, lifting them up. So when I just started working the game plan, because I got books for days, like that's another thing. Like every year I go and write my goals list down, keep a calendar, so it's all gonna be documented in my museum in a couple like 50 years or something. Like y'all gonna see.
That's one thing I do want to give you your flowers, girl. Like you be working, like you got a lot of stuff going on and you manage all of it. And I'm gonna give you your flowers right now.
Well, I appreciate it.
Big shouts to Big T.
Thank you.
Just to move the conversation forward, because I know you don't have a ton of time, but in terms of just like struggles that you've had trying to build your brand, because I know it's not been easy. Like I know that every single day is kind of like just a battle to stay relevant. That's kind of what I feel like just being in business is. So just share with the audience some of the struggles that you feel like you had to go through and how you overcame them, like whether it was adapting to new tools that have come out to help you run your business more efficiently, or maybe you leaned on other people, like you said, you delegated in certain circumstances. Just whatever things you went through and how you got through it.
I would say one challenge was being a female in an industry or in a city where most of the guys are like who are the ones to go to. And not only being a female, and not even to make this even about looks or nothing, but being an attractive female, being a female who's, somebody you would approach even if I wasn't in this field, because that has happened to me. People who I want to work with me, you try to talk to me, and I'm a very professional person, so I can make it business. But now I got to keep in mind: are you trying to just pay for me to be in your situation so you can try to continue to have advances, or like, are you only supporting this because you want to talk to me? Because that has happened before, and after like situations like that, I had to be mindful, because that's insulting to me when I literally invest my time, my money, my energy, my belief in this shit, and I want the bread, but I don't want it with the intention of like, it's going to come with, because you're going to fuck with me. You can keep that. Another struggle with the studio itself, that was an 8-month process to turn around. And I was paying for that out of pocket. Like, the studio wasn't making bread in that 8 months of me building it. Because what you see now is not what it was. I had literally transformed that whole space. That was all out of pocket, in addition to, a line of credit. So it was like, I was real. Okay, so this is a good personal point, because that just made me think that the building the studio was probably one of the most pivotal times in my life, where I had to learn to start being more self-aware, because like I said, I done put a lot of pressure on building a studio. I had just got promoted to supervisor at my job, and my relationship at the time, we had just moved in together. It was just like every aspect of my life that is like pivotal was just like mad changes happening. And on top of that, I'm trying to build this studio from scratch, and nobody around me really understood like the amount of pressure I was under, but I also didn't do a good job of explaining like what I felt. So that caused a rift in a lot of situations, relationship wise, with my mama and my family and everything. And like, while I can take accountability and be like, oh, I didn't communicate well, I also realized what people mean. Like, when you on a dream, if niggas don't see the vision, you really gonna be out here alone, bro. I like plenty of nights was in that studio putting that shit up by myself, paying somebody to paint, do all that. But if it wasn't me and my ex at the time, nobody came to that studio, but niggas reaped the benefits of it, and I had to learn to be okay with it, because for some reason, niggas got this perception that I'm just like Big Willie out here. And it's like, nigga, I work for this literally every day. Like, so it's like,
I think
if anything, yeah, that's probably one of the biggest struggles that I had to recently like start to like understand like what's happening. Like, you're achieving certain levels of success, and you hear celebrities say it all the time. When you start doing certain stuff, people around you start being a little weird, and I ain't believe it till niggas start being weird. And I'm like, all right, clearly I'm on a path to something, so I'm gonna take this as a sign rather than like a hardship. Mm-hmm. That's my mindset now. Before, I was like, y'all niggas got me fucked up. Like, y'all ain't helped me build shit. Like,
right. I think that that's what every brand owner, every brand developer, whatever you want to call yourself, I think that that's what they all go through. You go through a period of like feeling like you're all on your own, feeling like you're the only one that really understands what you're trying to do. And then you go through those phases of you're just stuck in the grind, so you're not really a good person to be around because it's rough. You're going through it right now. Like, you're trying to build something.
Got me fucked up. Help me.
And I think trying to build a company and trying to build a brand are two totally different things. And I feel like, T, you've built a brand.
Yeah.
Like, you have a lot of things going on. You have so many things attached to Cloudy Concepts that you're in 5-6 different lanes. To where, who knows, people might only know your clothes.
Yeah.
It's like people don't know what it is. They just know it's dope clothes.
People still ask me to this day questions like, you do videos? Mm-hmm. I guess I'm not advertising good enough.
Exactly. But you are, though.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I swear I be posting a lot, dog.
Exactly. So let's wrap it up with this question, T, because I think that what encapsulates your brand so much is that it matters a lot to you.
Yeah.
Like, you've been through a lot with it. It's developed a lot alongside of you developing through life. And I feel like it's become a part of you. Like that's a lot of what branding is. You put a lot of your personality, or I should say, you give your brand its own personality. I wouldn't even say you put it yours into it. You give it its own. So, why does your brand matter to you in general?
Well, that's a simple question because my whole life I always felt like I was destined to do stuff, but the stuff that I was good in wasn't like you couldn't just see. Like I couldn't sing, I couldn't draw, I wasn't like super athletic, but I knew like I'm like really good at like talking, I'm good at problem solving, I'm good at like just everything else that's like you gotta see me in that environment to know that I'm good at it. So that was part of the journey of like, yo, all right, well, if it's not what I'm good at, I'm supposed to be academic, I'm gonna go. So that's why when I came home from school, I was like uber depressed because I'm like, yo, like that was the plan. That was the plan. And when God gave me that revelation and I came to the awakening, I'm like, finally, like I've been asking what I'm supposed to do for, like, give me the mission, give me the mission, give me the mission. But I was never ready until I was ready. So that's why it's like, I can't not care because I asked for this. Like I really prayed for my whole life to have something that meant something to me, but I felt like it was because it was my purpose. Like I'm really good at this shit naturally without thinking about it. Bet, cool, let's run with it and let's build on it. And while doing it, it's super important for me to like give back and reach out to people and make sure I'm being a pillar for the person that I wanted when I was younger or when I was coming up. Because if they can get that, if I got this early, who knows where I would be at. Like I'm not mad at the process, but I just know like, all right, well, it's my responsibility to start pouring back into these pots because, bro, it's endless out here. Like once I was awoke, it's like we all got to start like figuring out, and we ain't got to do the same thing. I just want you to be happy in your personal journey, and you feel like when you wake up, bro, I'm on my purpose. Like, and if I can help you with that, shit, I don't mind.
Man, I feel like we done learned a ton from T in a little bit of time.
Yeah.
I just want to thank you again for pulling up.
Thanks for
This
having
is
me.
Brand Matters. Everybody give Big T a round of applause. Owner of Cloudy Concepts in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. She has a physical location in Mechanicsburg, Pennsylvania. Find her on socials at
T OnTheConcept for my main page, Cloudy Concepts IG for the business page. We're also got a website, cloudyconceptproductions.com. You can search us on Google, Apple Maps, pretty much anywhere where you want to look stuff up. I made sure we're in that market so it's easy to find.
All right, and that's Brand Matters episode 1. We're out.